everybody. My name is Hugh Dunn, and I direct the South Coast Development Partnership. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today. Today marks a milestone for the university, for the region, for the partnership, for an economic trajectory for this area. President John F. Kennedy once said, "We are tied to the ocean." And when we go back to the sea, whether it is to sail or to watch it, we are going back from whence we came. From commercial fishing to coastal tourism, marine engineering, and offshore wind, this region is unequivocally tied to the ocean. This region is once ready again to harness its coastal assets to propel sustained economic development relating to marine science and technology. The work that this initiative advances, workforce training, research and innovation, and branding of the region, will help return the region to an era of economic prosperity. Today's milestone wouldn't be possible but for the leadership of Chancellor Johnson and Congressman Keating and Congressman Kennedy, and the Federal Economic Development Administration. Although the EDA's Massachusetts regional representative could not be here today, Deborah Bevan sends her congratulations from the agency. We also have Jeffrey Walker, Donald Sullivan, Sandy Canati, Christy Senatori, and Leslie Richardson from our regional planning agencies, SERPED and the Cape Cod Commission, who are partners on this larger regional plan. I'd also like to acknowledge many of the executive board members of the South Coast Development Partnership. We have the Fall River and New Bedford, South Coast and Bristol chambers represented here today. We have the WIBs represented here today. We have numerous members of our business community. It is now my honor to introduce Chancellor Robert E. Johnson to discuss his bold vision for this region and the future of this project. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, come on. This is about the region. Good afternoon, everyone. It's more like it. First of all, let me say that one of the reasons why we are here today to celebrate this grant is because of the leadership of a fine young man in Hugh Dunn, who shepherded the whole process of this project, the grant application, getting the letters of support, writing and cajoling, and helping us to figure out a way to make this happen. So please join me in giving Hugh Dunn a big round of applause. So I want to welcome you to UMass Dartmouth, where we provide a private college educational experience and a public university value. And in case you haven't heard, we sit here on 710 acres of land, 15 minutes from the ocean, Congressman, and a half an hour from the Cape. This is an exciting time. Just about 5 months ago, UMass Dartmouth, in partnership with the Council on Competitiveness, gathered right here in this room with about 100 civic and academic leaders from the region and beyond to discuss the blue economy possibilities for the South Coast and southeastern Massachusetts. That day, we came together to jumpstart the development of the Blue Economy Corridor. Today we come together to celebrate a $600,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce's Economic Development Agency. This extraordinary investment was made possible by the advocacy of the South Coast Development Partnership and the exemplary leadership of Congressman Bill Keating and Congressman Joe Kennedy. Give them a hand. This region is rich in assets along the Blue Economy Corridor. running along Interstate 195 from Rhode Island to the Cape. As you can see on the image behind me, this corridor includes the nation's #1 fishing fleet and supporting industries, an emerging offshore wind industry, international recognized coastal tourist attractions, multiple marine tech companies, valuable business, cultural, and academic connections just beyond the region in Rhode Island and on Cape Cod. At the center, UMass Dartmouth, a Tier 1 national research university. From my first conversations with Congressmen Keating and Kennedy, it was clear that they understood and embraced the opportunity to build the blue economy and the quality of life here through a bold, strategic, regional approach. The opportunities are immense. A recent report by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration indicated that the ocean-related economy employs 3.2 million people, more than crop production, telecommunications, and building construction combined, and the stakes are high. The average median family income in New Bedford and Fall River, where most South Coast citizens live, is about half of the state average of $70,000. The unemployment rate is chronically higher than the state average, and the educational attainment level is lower. We have a moral obligation to confront the economic reality, which is what brings us together today, to fully develop the Blue Corridor, the Blue Economy Corridor, ensuring that a rising tide lifts all boats. The business and civic community, through the South Coast Development Partnership, has rallied to this idea of making the development of the Blue Economy Corridor a reality. Our 2 congressmen have been stalwart supporters of this initiative, and make no mistake about it, they have made it clear to me that UMass Dartmouth needs to demonstrate leadership. Congressman Keating, Congressman Kennedy, you have my commitment and the university's commitment to make a difference and to build this corridor in ways the world has never seen. We recognize our duty to create economic opportunity in this region through education and research, collaboration and innovation. We choose to make this announcement here on our main campus to highlight the interdisciplinary excellence that we are bringing to the table. Our College of Engineering, our Charlton College of Business, the School for Marine Science and Technology in New Bedford, our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Fall River, just to name a few. Around the room, you can see some of the products of UMass Dartmouth innovation, from underwater robots to ocean modeling systems to video fish and stock assessments. And right now, we need underwater robots given the wave that is heading towards the East Coast with the hurricane right now. Success will depend on our ability as a university and a community to demonstrate unprecedented collaboration across institutional, political, and geographical boundaries. I believe we are up to the challenge. It all comes down to this: a real belief that now is the time for us to start coming together, to stop competing for a single 12-inch pie and build an 18-inch pie so that all of us can be well fed. There's more than enough to go around. Together on this day, we celebrate the beginning of a new day for this region. So Congressman Keating and Congressman Kennedy, you can count on us. Thank you all for being here, and at this time, I'd like to bring up a gentleman. When I first met him and we started talking about the future of work, he took it to places I had never imagined. He is world-renowned. And as the saying goes, the greater the man, the shorter the introduction, Congressman Keating.
Well, I often say thank you for that fine introduction, but you outdid yourself. Thank you. Chancellor, it's great to be here with you. It's great to be here with my colleague and friend Joe Kennedy, who we have the privilege of representing together in this region. And, you know, Hugh Dunn is not only an alum of UMass, he's also an alum of our office and our New Bedford office, so it's thank you, Hugh, for everything you did working on this and putting this together. I've always said that this region will be the Silicon Valley of marine and technology and science. It'll be that cluster, the Blue Corridor. And today is the day we start to put all those pieces that were here together. And that's what this grant is about. That's what this partnership is about. You know, we had many things already in place. I mean, the offshore wind, it was in place, the investment in the terminal, many other infrastructure areas, yet we had the great foundation, the great pillars here, but now the connective tissue is going to be in place to really start maximizing those assets. For those of you that follow sports, and no one would admit they didn't, I guess, if they're in politics in this region, but we all look at the great year the Red Sox are having, and we look at that lineup they have. It's a lineup that will take them to the most wins they've ever had. But listen to the lineup, just a part of the lineup that was put together to make today such a success. On the academic front, UMass Dartmouth and SMass, Bristol Community College, Cape Cod Community College, Mass Maritime, making a bridge to URI and the Naval Underwater Wartime Center. That's what's going to bridge to this, I believe, and as well as dealing with the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Fall River. All those are just some of the academic lineup that we have in place that's going to make going forward that much more magnified and selective. And look at the private side. This is just not an academic effort. On the private side, we have Lockheed, Hydroid, General Dynamics, Teledyne Bentos, McLean. We have Falmouth Scientific, Boston Engineering, go on and on. That's quite a lineup on the private sector side as well. And then we have our chambers, the South Coast Chamber, the Bristol Chamber, the Cape Cod Chamber, all working as glue to put this together. And we also have the partnerships and the workforce investment teams in New Bedford, Fall River, and Cape Cod. That's a mouthful too. But all these groups came together to make this a success today. And they're going to lead to a success that's going to benefit the people in our area so well. Because what is the greatest need we have in this area? Good, paying, sustainable jobs of the future. The blue technology is the future. That's one of the most expanding areas in our nation's economy. And it's going to have its epicenter right here. What kind of jobs will it be? That's forecasting that the jobs that are going to be here will not only be new jobs, permanent jobs into the future, but they're going to be jobs that probably have an estimated 2 times what the average wage is in terms of payment, something that's important. It's forecasting a growth going forward of 5% moving forward all the time. So this is something really to be excited about, and it's something that's going to be the hallmark of our region, tying these assets all together. You know, just to go into the baseball analogy for one final thought, one of the favorite baseball movies of all of us, I think, is The Field of Dreams. And the iconic slogan in Field of Dreams is, "Build it and they will come." Well, if you have an educated, trained workforce, if you have an infrastructure and existing investment in place, if you have the kind of partnership with such really significant, major economic players that I read off, with the fine educational research institutes we have here, including Woods Hole, I left it out. It's a good thing I snuck it back in there. These are amazing assets to put together. And today we begin building. And believe me, those jobs, that economic development, that kind of resource that's so important for our economy nationally and our defense nationally, all those things will come. So thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you, Chancellor. I want to turn it over to my friend Joe Kennedy. We really enjoy working on these things together. There's a rumor that maybe in a few weeks we might have more opportunity to work together, but we'll leave that for another day, 56 days from now. But together we plan on even doing more. It's my pleasure to introduce Joe Kennedy, who needs no introduction.
Congressman, thank you. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your example. Thank you for your advocacy. We've done a number of events here together over the course of our time in office, together representing Massachusetts Southeast. Your efforts and advocacy on these issues, economic development issues, the development of a marine science corridor, offshore wind, has been second to none at a federal level. And I'm grateful for your friendship and your partnership. Second only to arguably one of the greatest things you have ever done is to have Hugh done in your office. Hugh, this, I'm going to echo your former boss, this does not happen without you, just period. We are not here without your effort. So thank you. For the past literally years, you have been doing this. We've been bugging you on it for an awfully long time. And you have, your doggedness and determination has helped make this happen. So congratulations and thank you to you. I also want to recognize Professor Goodman. Professor, thank you for your efforts on this, going back an awfully long way as well. Great to see you here, and thank you for all that you've done to make it possible. Chancellor, a couple things. First off, welcome. Although a year later, welcomes probably aren't quite valid anymore. But I will say personally how thrilled we are to have you here for an awful lot of reasons, but most critically for me, one, as an educational leader that understands what institutions of higher learning can do for economic development, how they can catalyze it, how they can inspire young adults and students into a field that they might not always have known about, or they might not know that they have access to or can actually reach or can be a leader in. Somebody that has built up over the course of your time leading in educational institutions a record and a credibility such that as we have tried, Congressman Keating and others have tried to shake up policymakers to recognize that our public policy does not support what is actually already taking place across this region. To be able to have a dedicated leader here that can be a convener, that can leverage your own credibility to make sure that we are successful. This does not work, this will not work without UMass Dartmouth leading the way. I'm grateful for your leadership, for your commitment, and anything else that we can do to be supportive of you, Chancellor. Please know that you have it, and thank you for all that you're doing. Now for the prepared remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, today this region is not only pushing the boundaries of marine science, but standing on the front lines of our nation's clean energy future. It has unparalleled natural resources, an extraordinary public education at all levels, a fierce work ethic, and the South Coast is going to be poised to utilize